Okay, I'm going to get into Fight Club and 9/11 in this video. First, let's start with the basics. Fight Club premiered at the 56th Venice International Film Festival on September 10th, 1999, and was released in the United States on October 15th, 1999 by 20th Century Fox. So, released the day before September 11th in 1999 at a film festival, but more widespread release in theaters on October 15th, 1999. The executive producer for Fight Club was Arnon Milchan. He was the sole executive producer, while Ross, Grayson Bell, Chaffin, and Art Linson served as producers. Arnon Milchan was a Hollywood producer who admitted to being an undercover agent for the Israeli government, working for years to support its nuclear program and other national interests. He was recruited by Shimon Peres and used his position in the film industry as a cover for his intelligence activities, which included nuclear arms dealing for Israel. Milchan stated he was proud of his work for his country. So the executive producer of Fight Club is an admitted secret agent for Israel. Interesting, I did not know that. It was actually reported by CNN back in 2013. Fight Club producer Arnon Milchan, I helped Israeli spy agency. And they go into great detail about it. Obviously, as a producer in Hollywood, he was involved in many other films, but we're just going to focus on Fight Club in this one. This is from a website that was going into the actual location information about where they shot everything and things like that. And you can see here that the end scene of Fight Club features some popular landmarks in the LA area. You have the Fox Plaza Tower, the Century Plaza Twin Towers, and the St. Regis Hotel. These are the buildings that are shown on screen destroyed. When you go down to this image that the website put together, you can see that they're not quite in the same orientation that they're shown in the film, so there are some liberties taken there. Where you have the St. Regis here and the Fox Tower here, and then the Twin Towers. And before going further, the first thing that struck me about this image was the idea that these quote-unquote twin towers, the Century Plaza towers, look like an hourglass when they're highlighted like this. Meaning you have the whole time element of the 9/11 ritual sort of subconsciously encoded into the construction of these two towers. Where it's everything that I've been getting into in past videos about the ritual that was taking place in New York on September 11, 2001, as it relates to your mind and what is going on with it through the exposure to all of this propaganda. Symbolically, you are being sent into a different dimension where time will function differently than it does from where you came from. And this sort of further points to the idea of time running out. The countdown in Donnie Darko, right? The end of the parallel dimension as something new is created. The hourglass is running out. Symbolically, then, time is destroyed at the end of Fight Club in the form of these two towers. Or at least our perception of it and what that perception used to be. A quantum leap into a new dimension. Project Stargate, Operation Warp Speed. As it relates to the metaphorical time travel that is going on in your mind as it is sucked into the Overlook Hotel. Trapped within it, right? Trapped within the screen. The Overlook Hotel, the Millennium Hilton Space Station, right? In 2001: A Space Odyssey. Your mind is going on the Odyssey into virtual reality. The eye is fusing with the screen. It's being trapped in the Overlook Hotel. Symbolically, that's what took place during this ritual that transpired through the screen for most people, right? We all viewed it through a television screen. And that was the beginning of the process of the eyes merging into this technology, becoming one with it, fusing with it. So anyways, why am I talking about these Twin Towers in relationship to the Twin Towers in New York City? Well, when you go actually look at the Century Plaza towers, you can see that they very clearly resemble the Twin Towers in terms of design, and that makes a lot of sense when you go look at who the architect was. It was Yamasaki, who also designed the Twin Towers. So, same architect designed both, and naturally they look very similar because of that, but I hope you can see how that's a very intentional choice for the two towers that were destroyed at the end of Fight Club. Symbolically, it's the Twin Towers in New York that are destroyed in that scene. And I'll just play that right now for those of you who have not seen this.
Trust me.
So you can see the very clear controlled demolition of these two Century Plaza towers that were designed by the same architect who designed the Twin Towers, the World Trade Center in New York City. And it's even in line with what happened on that day, where the South Tower falls first and then the North Tower falls second. And right at the end, there is an image that flashes on the screen that relates back to a prior scene that I'll bring up right here, where they break the fourth wall and they're telling you about how Tyler Durden, the character, splices in pornographic images as a part of one of his jobs. So all these people are getting a subliminal or subconscious image placed into their mind that they don't quite register consciously, right? It's in there so fast that they think they might have seen something, but they don't really notice it. And at the end of Fight Club, they splice that same scene in as the two towers fall, meaning they're telling you that this is what we just did to you. We spliced something in here that you're not going to understand. We spliced images of those Twin Towers that are going to fall in New York City into this film in 1999. And you are not going to understand it. It's subconscious. It's subliminal. And as that is going on, the film is ending with the song "Where Is My Mind" playing. And that's a play on words in relationship to what's going on there. Where is your mind? Well, it's not conscious of what is going on. Now, on the surface level, someone would just say, like a film critic would, well, it's all about this guy who's having this personality disorder where he thinks he's two people, but he's really not. He made the whole thing up. Where's his mind, in other words? What's going on? But there's another layer of meaning there where it's, no, where is your mind as the viewer? What are you actually perceiving? Are you even conscious right now? In other words, are you lost? Where is your mind? Well, you're certainly not aware enough to understand what you were just shown by this spy executive producer who very intentionally put that reference to subconscious splicing of images at the end of the film in the context of two towers being destroyed in a controlled demolition. In this quote-unquote terrorist attack by the members of Fight Club, Project Mayhem. And they show this to you in another way, or the executive producer shows this to you in another way, where Tyler Durden is shown flashing on the screen in a way that your mind doesn't consciously perceive it when you're viewing it in real time. And somebody put these all together and slowed everything down so you can actually see this image of Tyler Durden popping onto the screen. And that's the whole point of it, right? You are this character who doesn't perceive what they are doing through this technology and through these films. In this way, it's popping in and out in ways you don't understand. And then finally, you merge your mind with it. You become that personality. And the end result is the attempted assassination, right? Which symbolically is this new mind being created as you destroy the old one, as those twin towers are being destroyed, right? It's the 9/11 ritual. It's the mind merging with its digital twin in that way. This is why I never use the phrase predictive programming. That's not what it is. Okay, it's so much deeper than that. This is one of the more blatant examples of it, where they very clearly show these two towers being destroyed in the context of a film that is all about a mind twinning, for lack of a better term, right? Splitting off into some other thing and losing touch with reality until it comes back together at the end into this new thing. I mean, that's the story of Donnie Darko, right? The Great American Eclipse, it is this parallel tangent reality that splits off and then comes back around. And you, the viewer, don't understand what just transpired. It's the storm that Donald Trump was referring to, right? You'll see. These are the two towers that are being destroyed in this film. The whole thing is coordinated through this character that is a figment of Edward Norton's character's imagination, right? And that is symbolically this propaganda. And it is spliced into things in a subconscious way, just like they do it in the movie, and that influences you to later merge with it and be influenced by it. Project Mayhem was the creation of Tyler Durden, quote unquote, but it was actually this character doing it, and that's them telling you that their Project Mayhem is done through your mind. You just don't understand that. You don't understand how it's playing out. All of this put into a film by an executive producer who was an admitted member of an Israeli spy agency. And it doesn't matter what country it is, these are the entities and agencies that have access to knowledge that the general public does not before things happen. Where is your mind? Okay, this is the question you need to be asking. I mean, that's a good question to ask yourself every day. Where am I? What is going on? When I'm seeing things like this, where am I? That's a question I ask myself every day because it just gets crazier and crazier. Where is my mind? Where are we? But in a more innocent way, where is my mind with all of this stuff? What am I actually perceiving? And what do they tell you in the film, right? The first rule is you don't talk about it. And that's them giving a wink and a nod to what they do behind the scenes, right? It's a secret. They don't talk about it. They'll show you images with a finger up to their mouth giving you the shh, right? They'll put that out there, but they don't talk about it openly. In the context of this scene, where the towers are being destroyed and you are watching them, it's the same as this image of the towers being destroyed, watching it through the screen as you are trapped in the screen through the ritual in terms of how it will play out in the future. This being just the beginning of it. 2001: A Space Odyssey. The Odyssey into virtual reality where you are quite literally experiencing what this character does. Your mind is being taken over by something else. It's fusing with a digital twin, and you are losing touch with your old reality. It begins with this demolition and ends with the creation of this new mind. And as they show you in the last scene, it's being achieved in part through this subconscious, subliminal propaganda that your conscious mind is not aware of. Because we have been asleep for so long, we've lost touch with the ability to perceive actual reality. We're under a trance in that sense. And the mind is so powerful that it convinces itself that there's this actual other thing going on that isn't really true. It's not reality. They put it all in this film. They really did. So anyways, I think that's a very important piece of the 9/11 puzzle, and I've been meaning to do a video on it for a long time, so here it is. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.